possibly, he could have gotten himself booked into different places easier if he was willing to do that. And big band music, certainly, I guess when he launched the band, it was like in '66 or
Right.
something. It wasn't the biggest genre going at the time, but it's what he wanted to do, and he made it happen. Just sort of, you talk about like, not going with the popularity.
Absolutely. I mean, in '66, when he decided to put the big band together, it was a very unpopular thing at the time. I know my mother was freaking out because, she was thinking, he's not going to work, and money has to come in. And what are we going to do? And he was like, don't worry about it. I will make this happen because this is what I love, and it's going to be new, and it's going to be different, and it's going to happen, and it will work. And it did. And it was a long, hard road for him because, it was hard and expensive being out on the road with, 15 musicians and a bus and, doing all that and going on one-nighters every night. And sometimes it was really hard on him. But he stuck it out because he believed in it. And my mother many times would say, why don't you, get a small band, put a small band together, do this, record. You always got calls to be on people's records and do this and do that. It's like, that's not what I love doing. He said, if I'm going to be out there and I'm going to be on the road, busting my butt, I want to be doing something that I absolutely love.
Yeah, it seemed like he made the band fly just sort of by sheer will.
It was sheer will sometimes, because it sometimes was just his energy pushing it forward.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the band play at my high school, like in 1983, and it was packed and everyone had a great time. But he was playing venues like that and was drawing crowds. But I mean, playing some tough places and out of the way places and just going all over the place.
Well, high schools and colleges were a thing that I think he requested. He wanted to bring his music to young people and to people who maybe couldn't get out to clubs and pay a high cover charge, to come in and see him. And it was really important for him to bring the music to young people. And I think he really enjoyed the high schools. I spent many a time on the road with him going to high schools across the country, and he enjoyed talking to the kids after the show, and that was something that very, very special to him, is connecting with young people.
Yeah, me and a bunch of friends actually went on the bus after the show. Yeah. We got his autograph, and I snuck one of his brushes off his drum set after the show. I still have that.
You did?
Yeah.
That's great. That's really great.
And he was really nice, and he like you said, he seemed to really enjoy talking to us.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think if you were genuine and didn't come up to him and try to do one-liners with him and get smart, he really would take the time, and he would have sat there for an hour talking to kids after a show. And I would see him sign autographs for, he'd be after West Side Story or after Channel 1, all night long, and he'd still sit for an hour afterwards and sign autographs and talk.
Yeah, I mean, he was clearly exhausted, and he had his
the towel and the robe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess another one. I guess it seemed like another one of his sort of catchphrases was like the show must go on too, and that seems to come up a lot.
He was a real stickler for that, as far as the show must go on, and there were many times when he shouldn't have gone on. I mean, just being ill or being in pain, and but I think again it was just the force of his will, and having been taught from such an early age, that the show must go on, and when you're a child star and you're supporting an entire family at the age of 5. And your dad's telling you, you got to get out there and work. You got to get out there and work. I think that ethic is instilled, throughout your life. And maybe in the beginning it wasn't really the right thing. When you're a little kid and you don't have a chance to have a childhood and you're out there, working your whole life. And I think that's probably what spurred him on, was having, that instilled from such a young age.
And I guess that might have been around the Depression too. So
it was the Depression.
There was no, when it came to your livelihood, there was no time to fool around.
You couldn't fool around, and especially when you had adults counting on you, and that's got to be a lot of pressure for a little kid.
Yeah, I can imagine. With this tribute, what is it that you would most like to see of Buddy carried on? What memory of Buddy carried on through tribute most?
I think what I want to attain from this tribute is bringing his music to people that may not have had a chance to see or hear him, keeping his band going, keeping his music going, and here's a man who spent 60 years of his life committed to jazz and committed to the music and keeping his band going. And I think that before he passed away, those were a few of the things that he asked of us was keep the band working, keep the music heard. And that is really what I've tried to do. It hasn't been easy. And I think with the scholarship program in place and getting to do the concerts every year, I think that we've kept his name alive, we've kept the band going, and because of Neil now, we're able to have a record out that's going to touch, hopefully, lots of people.
Well, I didn't quite realize it was just it was that kind of, it was that kind of sort of that personal of a cause in a way, that it was something that he had definitely wanted done. Well, was it, I guess, going through the old sheet music and reading his notations in the margins and just assembling all this and talking with the bands and hearing the stories? I mean, what was this? Was it painful at all at any time for you?
Well, luckily I've been doing this for the past 7 years. So I think if I had come into it cold and all of a sudden I was hit with hearing his music again for the first time in 8 years, or seeing the band again for the first time, so going into it, I had already experienced the feelings of good and bad. And in the studio, there were a couple of times when I had to leave and go and have a moment and just kind of sit there and let it out and then come back in. But sure, it's very difficult sometimes, because you realize in the joy that it is, doing it, then you sit back and realize why you're doing it, and that puts a whole different slant on it.
Maybe tell me something about the work with the foundation and the specific goals of the scholarship.
The goal of the scholarship program, actually, as I said, it began because my dad said, do something with young people, try to do something with the band, and for me it took me about a year to figure out how I was going to do that. That's kind of a big request to leave with somebody, and I just came up with an idea. I said, let's start a scholarship program. Let's try to give young drummers that maybe can't afford to go to another year of Berklee or to another year of North Texas State, let's give them a scholarship so that they can further their musical education in Buddy's name. That way you keep his name going, you keep the band going, you help young drummers, and that's sort of a way to do the whole thing that he asked. And for me, I think that we've been really lucky that we've been able to do the show every year. We have wonderful sponsors, all the music industry sponsors, the drum industry, cymbals, everybody has always been behind it. And so we've been able to do it, and there are 5 kids that are going to school in his name now. And that's really the whole purpose. And for me, I just want to keep it going and maybe take it on the road, do a tour with it, go to as many high schools or colleges or whatever that we can do, and have as many kids, help as many kids as we possibly can.
Any special success stories as far as scholarship recipients that you're particularly proud of?
There are 5, as I said. 1 just graduated from Berklee this year, and he just got his first gig out on the road. He's going to China and all over Europe. I just saw him the other day, which is great. So he just told me, he said, I'm going to be the first one that comes back who has been a scholarship winner and that you're going to have as a guest on the show. I said, great, I hope that happens. And they're also young right now, that I think given a few years, they will all make their mark. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, this coming up show in, I guess, November 6th seems to have a definite, I mean, it's quite a lineup of people that are coming out for that one, too.
Yeah, this next show is going to be great. We've got 5 or 6 of the people from the record that will be at the show. And there's a big drum expo all day at the Manhattan Center. And really, we're using it as a kickoff for the record. And Neil will be there. He's getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I think it's going to be a really fantastic show.
That's cool. Yeah, it seems like the scholarship definitely sort of plays into that aspect of your father's personality, where he was sort of, a very giving person and very eager to help people out.
Very much so, and I think that's also why I feel really good about the scholarship, because we're able to give something to people. It's not all about taking. You have to, at some point, give it back.
Neil's the first rock drummer to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award, and I mean that's interesting in and of itself. What is it, specifically about Neil that made him, the guy this year?
I think the decision was an obvious one, because no one has been more instrumental in keeping Buddy's name alive than Neil at this point in time. His dedication and his commitment to the project, and just his whole feeling about Buddy, and putting the record together and really sticking with it when people told him not to. And again, it's you stick with what you believe in, and it gets done. And also, Neil has really taken drumming to another level. I mean, Neil's not just a drummer. He's a writer. He's a lyricist. He's a wonderful player. And I think the whole thing with the Lifetime Achievement Award, it's that people who have achieved something in their lives and elevated the art form of drumming. And he's the perfect candidate, because that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, definitely. He seems to possess so many qualities that people don't often associate with often unfairly with drummers, and he's just he's a model, I think, in a lot of ways.
He's a very wonderful example of not only a musician but of a human being. He's an incredible person.
Yeah, have you gone to see Rush and stuff? You've been a Rush fan for a while yourself?
The funny thing is that up until the time I met Neil, I had never heard a Rush record. And I told him that, and he's like, well, that's because you're an adult. So now I've gone to see them several times, and I love the band. I think it's great. And as a matter of fact, in putting together, we're doing a little film piece for the Lifetime Achievement Award, and I've gotten to see all the videos from day one. And it's really funny to see how they've changed through the years, and Neil with hair down to here, and Geddy with hair down to here, and just their whole process of getting older. And it's very interesting, but it's a great band.
Yeah, he's sort of like the Neil Peart rockumentary
Yes.
before your eyes.
Definitely.
Maybe tell us a bit about your own career, things you've been.
My career, actually, I started out as a singer. That was my main thing when I was a kid and growing up. I loved to sing. I still love to sing. Unfortunately, I don't have a chance to do it as much as I would like, so I produce concerts where I can sing. So I try to do it at least, at the scholarship concerts when I can. But really, my time now is spent, behind the scenes. I like producing and putting things together and watching them grow from an idea. And that's really, what I do now. Whether it's in the video medium or the recording medium or the concert medium, that's what I do.
And that's through your own production company?
That's through my company, Skabiba.
Let's see. Anything else we haven't touched upon? Particularly.
Covered Neil and Buddy and band and concert, record. I don't know. I think.
Well, I guess we talked about Buddy the man. How is his character, his personality reflected in the way he played drums?
Wow. How is his character reflected in the way he played? I think you saw him come through the music, because if you ever saw him play, you would see so many different things. You saw intensity, you saw tenderness, you saw great ability, and that was all part of him. A very intense person at times, and yet at home very tender, very gentle, very different. And I think all of that comes through your music. And I think that if you sat down and watched a video of him at different points in his life, you would see all of those phases and all those aspects of his personality coming right through his music.
What do you think about his playing that has made him so revered in the drum community and made made his impact so lasting? Maybe where others who have been great haven't, or what really sets him apart, stylistically and performance-wise?
Well, I think what sets him apart is that his gift was definitely God-given. I mean, there's absolutely no way you could study for 100 years and be able to do the things that he was able to do. I think that that's probably, the thing is that you'll look and you'll say, that's physically impossible to do. Or, just his ear, the fact that he couldn't read music, the fact that he could hear a chart once and know it. I mean, these things are just, not everyday occurrences. And I think that that talent, saw him through, a 70-year career. And he was the greatest. At that particular art, he was the best. And I think that when you rise to the top like that and stay there for so long, you absolutely are set apart from everybody else.